Hello. I've been getting a few questions about how to calculate what tier you would fall within as a producer of primary produce. So this video is about how to calculate how big is my cultivated land. So this is my interpretation of the Phase 2 draft regulations. If you've got uncertainties, it's best to check with Biosecurity Tasmania, because ultimately their interpretation, they've got all the power, so their interpretation is really practically going to be what matters. But I hope this is helpful. So why cultivated land is relevant is because the proposed tiered system applies depending upon the cultivated land on which growers grow or cultivate primary produce. So Tier 1 notification applies to those whose cultivated land is less than 1 hectare. Tier 2 accreditation applies where cultivated land is between 1 and 5 hectares. And Tier 3 accreditation applies where cultivated land is 5 or more hectares. So how big is that? Not everybody speaks hectare. So for people in a more urban environment, you might be a bit of a square metre person, and then lots of us in rural environments find it easier to understand acres. So less than 1 hectare is less than 10,000 square metres and less than 2.47105 acres. 1 to 5 hectares is between 10 and 50,000 square metres and 2.47105 to 12.3553 acres. And 5 plus hectares is more than 50,000 square metres or more than 12.3553 acres. Okay, so the draft regulations define cultivated land as land that is used by a proprietor of a horticulture produce business involved in the horticulture produce production of horticulture produce for the purposes of growing or cultivating that horticulture produce. Now, horticulture produce is defined for the purposes of the regulations as meaning any berries, leafy vegetables, melons, or seed sprouts. Okay, so that's what it says. What does that mean is included? So what is included is the land area on which you grow and cultivate. They are specific and narrow parts of the activities that you engage in that might be regulated. So for the purposes of land area, you're not looking at your other horticulture produce production activities such as washing, packing, storing and transporting. You're just looking at where you grow and cultivate. And you're only looking at the areas of your premises where berries, leafy vegetables, melons and seed sprouts are grown or cultivated. So you're not looking at your total property size, you're looking at the areas where those specific things are grown or cultivated. Where you grow and cultivate on multiple sites as an organisation or a business, then all of the land areas upon which your organisation or business grows and cultivates will be included in deciding which tier your business or organisation will fall within. So a few examples. So let's say you're a farmer, you grow and cultivate potatoes, and you also produce herbs. So it might be some chives and some mint, which you sell alongside your potatoes to accompany them on people's dinner plates. The cultivated land is only the land area on which the herbs are grown and cultivated, not the land on which you grow and cultivate potatoes, because they're not included. Example 2 is you're a community organisation that coordinates kitchen gardens on multiple sites. The cultivated land for you is going to be all of the garden areas on which your organisation grows and cultivates berries, leafy vegetables and melons. Oh, and seed sprouts, I should have said there too. Example 3, you're a market gardener who lives on the same property from which you process and sell direct to consumers. So many market gardeners would fall into this category. Your cultivated land is all of the garden areas on which you grow and cultivate berries, leafy vegetables, melons and seed sprouts. For the purposes of the cultivated area, it's not going to include your wash and pack or cool room facilities. It's not going to include the space on the property that your home occupies, and it's not going to include your farm gate where you where you meet customers and they collect their vegetables. Example 4, you're a market gardener who grows leafy vegetables and seed sprouts in a vertical hydroponic system. Your cultivated land is all of the area on which you grow and cultivate leafy vegetables and seed sprouts. I have to say it's not entirely clear if a different way of calculating land area would apply to such vertical systems, but there's no indication that it would, and if it was consistent with other people's methods of growing, then it would be, your bird's eye view of the land, calculating the area. I need to alert you that there is more to explore here, because where your cultivated land area is over 1 hectare, which will mean that you fall into an accreditation category, the measure of your tier category may be the number of employees or the number of workers, not the cultivated land. But I'll deal with this in a separate video to keep things nice and short.